Hi team, welcome to Automation for Testers. In this lecture, we are going to continue about the exceptional handling in JavaScript. Okay. So now in the last video, we have discussed about what is meant by exception and what kind of different exception that we have in JavaScript. Only couple of things we have discussed like reference error, type error, syntax error and range error. So others are also there, and whenever you get anything, so you will come to know what kind of different errors are there. And so what is meant by exception? So we already discussed, if any exception occurs in your program, you cannot continue. That means the program cannot be continued because it terminates in the middle itself. And we also seen how to handle it using try and catch block. So what is meant by try block? Try block is nothing but a it contains a code where there is a chance or probability that exception can occur. So that code you will write it in which block? Try block. So obviously what happens when you write any code in the try block which may give the exception is, whenever the exception occurs it will throw it. Okay, so that means exception will be coming from try to catch block. So now catch block is a block which receives the execution, which receives the exception, and then it will handle it and then it will continue the program. Okay, so these were the things so far we have discussed. Okay, so now let us continue the same discussion. Now you can add any type of code over here, so which may give you different errors. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll try to add one more program. Let's say Control C and 1 second, paste. Okay, so now what I will do, I will add one more keyword that is called as what? Finally keyword. Okay, so now we have one more keyword. What is that called? Finally keyword. So here I will add one statement, something like hey, I am always executed. I am always executed. Now if I run the program, okay, so part3.js, okay, so you can see program has started, and this is a reference error that you are getting. You can see, hey, I am always executed, and program has ended. So what happened in this case is this block has executed. Now what we will do, we'll try to define a variable j equal to, let's say, 0 only. Anything is fine. So now in this case there is no chance that exception will occur. Okay, so let's see which one of these two lines will be executed. Both will be executed, catch block and finally block, or only catch or only finally. We are going to see it now. So there you can see program has started and the sum is what? 5. And there you can see, hey, I'm always executed. So in this case exception block is not executed because there is no exception occurred at all, right? So nothing will be executed from the catch block if there is no exception. So but when you write any finally, so that piece of block will definitely executed whether the exception occurs or not. Okay, this is a very important. Catch block executed only when the exception occurs. Otherwise there is no chance that any statement written inside of a catch block gets executed. But finally block is a block whenever you write that block will definitely be executed. So generally when we have any references, like you have made a connection to the database, or when you make any connection to the Excel file system, and then those kind of things, in order to close those connection you can use this finally block. And is finally is mandatory means? No, it's not mandatory. In the earlier example we have completed the program without any finally also. But can I write try and finally only? Okay, let's see that. There you can see it will still accept if you write only try and finally. And what happens if the error occurs? Does it handle the exception? We have only try and finally. If the exception occur, what happens? Okay, so remember, you can write try and finally without catch block, but any exception that occurs, it is not going to handle it. So the best recommended way is try catch. And if you feel that something is there where you have to close it for mandatory, then I would request you to go by try, catch, and then finally. Can I add multiple catch blocks? Let's see that. And let's say error 1. Okay, there you can see try expected. Okay, so unlike the other programming languages like Java, so you cannot write multiple catch blocks for a single try. Okay, so it should be only one. This is a one more key important point, you need to understand it. Okay, then how can I differentiate between one with another, right? So that doubt may also coming. In that case you have to write logic something like this. See here, if error equal to or else instance of the, let's say, range error, right, reference error. Okay, you can see else log, hey, it's not reference exception, Now what we will do, one second, we'll try to run the program and see what happens. There you can see because J is not defined, reference error. So we'll try to produce the other exception so that you will come to know. So in this case I am trying to provide this particular exception. Okay, so here let me comment all these things and let me add this one. Now if I run the program and see what is the output, we are going to get it. So you can see hey, it's not a reference exception because it has taken into what, else block. So like this, instead of adding the multiple catch blocks, you have to go by what, if and else's, like this. If error instance of this one, then you do this, else you do this. And if you want to add more, then you can add it. If the same thing, error is instance of something, range error, the same thing you can add it, like what you can say here, syntax error. Okay, so that you can add it, like syntax error, else you can add any other things. Hey, it's a syntax error reference and not any type of exception. Now if you run the program, there you can see hey, it's a syntax exception. If you write any other things, it will go by the else block. Okay, like this, you have only choice to add if and else conditions in the catch blocks. So you cannot add multiple catches. There's a one point you need to understand it. And do we have any points to discuss? Can I write try and finally means, yeah, let's give a try. Okay, so try to paste it over here, and there you can see try is expected. That means we cannot twist it like a try finally catch, not possible. You have to write try finally and then catch. And can I add one more try block in the try block means, yes, of course you can add it. Multiple finally blocks also not allowed. Okay, multiple catches are not allowed, multiple finally are not allowed, and within any of the try catch finally you can add one more try catch. Oh, that means nested exception handlings are allowed. That means within the try block you can add one more try block also. It shouldn't be an issue. And what happens without if I add only a try block? So try to run the program and see what happens. Okay, so you can see missing catch and are finally after try block. So with this, what did we understand? So in order to complete your exception, either try and catch is both are mandatory, or else try and finally, or else try catch finally. The best combination is try catch. Alternative combination is try catch finally. Okay, so different combination will come, guys. So based on that, you need to choose one of them. Okay, so now do we have anything? Yes, we can also discuss about the throw keyword. Okay, let's see what is meant by throw keyword. So here let me create one file, part4.js. okay, so I want to throw an exception explicitly. Okay, something like this, variable I equal to 5. If I equal to 5, I want to throw exception. So if I equal to 5 and then throw, you can say anything like I don't like this number, I don't like it. Okay, so let's say log program ended, same thing, program has started over here, log program ended, sorry, started, right, started. So now CLS, try to run the program, it should be part4, right? So there you can see there is exception that occurred, but observe over here, we are not able to continue the program. Because I value is 5, but if I make it 6, try to run your program, there you can see program has started and program has ended. But if I make it into try block, what happens? Let's see that. And I'm just making this 5, and let's say log I received I received error. Okay, let's say comma error. Now you run the program and see what happens. There you can see I received the error. I don't like it. That means you can also throw an exception explicitly using the throw keyword. Throw keyword is used to throw the exception explicitly from anywhere. Okay. So I hope the keywords are very helpful for you guys to in order to handle the exception. This is very important either for developers and for automation testers also. Okay, so we have discussed about try catch, finally, and then throw keywords. Okay, so we'll try to create one more video on this in order to understand it better what is meant by throw keyword. Okay.